Most countries are fighting inflation. Some are losing control. Others pretend it's temporary. But there is one country where inflation stays unusually calm year after year. Not because prices never rise. Not because the country is lucky, but because the entire system is built to resist inflation at its core. That country is Switzerland. And how Switzerland controls inflation explains why inflation feels permanent almost everywhere else. First, let's clear up a common misunderstanding. Controlled inflation does not mean frozen prices. It means prices rise slowly, predictably, and rarely spiral out of control. In Switzerland, inflation often stays near 0 to 2%. Some years, prices barely move at all. Other years, inflation even turns negative. Compare that to many countries today where prices rise faster every year and never fully come back down. So what is Switzerland doing differently? The first reason is its currency. The Swiss franc is one of the strongest currencies in the world. And that strength is not an accident. Most countries weaken their currencies on purpose. A weaker currency makes exports cheaper, boosts short-term growth, and makes debt easier to manage. Switzerland does the opposite. It protects the value of its money, even when that hurts exporters, even when growth slows, even when it becomes unpopular. A strong currency keeps imports affordable, softens energy shocks, and blocks inflation before it spreads through the economy. That choice alone eliminates a major source of inflation pressure. The second reason is the Swiss central bank. The Swiss National Bank is extremely conservative. It does not rush to print money. It does not chase fast growth. And it does not promise painless solutions. When inflation threatens, policy tightens quickly. Interest rates rise. Speculation cools. Excess money is pulled back. In many countries, central banks hesitate because governments rely on cheap money to survive. Debt becomes harder to manage. Political pressure builds. Switzerland allows its central bank to say no, even when that no is uncomfortable. The third reason is debt. Inflation loves debt. The more debt a country has, the more it quietly depends on inflation to shrink that burden over time. Switzerland keeps government debt low. Budgets are balanced. Fiscal rules are strict. Because the system is not overloaded with debt, there is less pressure to inflate problems away. Inflation is not needed to keep the system alive. And then there is the part most people ignore. Culture. Swiss society values stability over speed, saving over spending, long-term planning over short-term relief. Prices are expected to make sense. Wages are expected to reflect productivity. Governments are expected to stay within limits. Inflation is not normalized. It is questioned. In many countries, inflation is treated as unavoidable. In Switzerland, it is treated as a failure. So if this works so well, why doesn't every country copy Switzerland? Because controlling inflation comes with real costs. Strong currencies hurt exporters. Tight money slows growth. Fiscal discipline limits political promises. And low inflation removes an easy escape valve for bad decisions. Most modern economies are built on high debt, constant stimulus, and asset inflation. They need prices to rise to keep the system moving. Switzerland chose a different trade-off decades ago. They didn't eliminate inflation. They contained it. Not with tricks, not with shortcuts, but with discipline, credibility, and a willingness to accept short-term pain. The real question isn't why inflation is high everywhere. The real question is why so few countries are willing to do what actually controls it.